your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Chrissy is hilarious.
Chrissy, have you ever heard of the comedian Basha K. Ali?
No, that sounds like something you yell at before you blow up a plane.
Basha K. Ali!
30 seconds remaining.
But you know what, good thing to say, I dabbled in stand-up or something. I haven't been disrespectful to you at all.
I was very confused by the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that's also what we call it when Ash takes off his shirt. I shouldn't be up here. I should be in school on the other side of the ocean. Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. You can listen to this show on Facebook, Spotify, SoundCloud, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Rockfin. We're everywhere. So please like and subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. I've got a bunch of comedy shows coming up. Thanks again to everyone who came out to Mount Kisco this past weekend to see myself and my friend and opener, Keanu Thompson. Awesome crowd, huge crowd, so much fun. We had a blast, as like we do all the time. And shout out to Showley at Jazz on Main for having us again. Just so much fun. So much fun. There were Democrats there, and we didn't walk them. Shocking. I still can't believe it. If you missed the show and you're feeling FOMO, well, guess what? You're in luck. There are more shows coming up. You can catch me in Long Island this August. I'll be in Plano, Texas at the Mic Drop in September. I'll be in Massillon, Ohio in October. San Diego, October 23rd. Phoenix, Arizona, November 1st. And I'm getting those ticket links soon. I know you can buy tickets now for Long Island and Ohio. And as soon as I have Plano, San Diego, and Phoenix, I will update my website. Thank you guys. Like and subscribe. Okay. Our guest today, I love her for so many reasons. Yes, we have the same name. Yes, we're both gorgeous women of the internet. That there's so much more that we're going to discuss together. We both have been on Newsmax. She's a contributor, a regular contributor for Newsmax, and the host of Underreported Stories, which you can listen to every Tuesday and Thursday. Put your hands together. I know we're not at a comedy club. You're probably listening to this alone or in your bathroom. Maybe you're hiding from your spouse, but I want you to, wherever you are, put your hands together, start clapping right now for the fabulous Christy Clark. Yay!
Hey girl, thanks for having me. I cannot try to outcompete you in comedy though. I think the bar for comedy is kind of low on Newsmax, so I get a lot of chuckles over there. I don't know if I can compete tonight.
I'm gonna do like this view. Actually, I like this view.
Yeah,
okay.
It's cute.
No, Newsmax, their priority is news. So if you a chuckle is great. They want to be taken seriously. I think what happened in Newsmax, they after a lot of people were kind of pissed at Fox. Well, they got a lot of old Fox talent over there, and a lot of the viewers who were pissed at Fox or about the whole like the Dominion kerfuffle. I don't know. Newsmax is cool. Newsmax to me feels like the cooler younger brother who's more with it.
I agree. I always say that like when mainstream media was coming, like a term that you would talk about when I think I was probably in college. So like 2015, 2016. I know it's been used a lot longer, but like it really became in the day-to-day vernacular of the American people when Trump was on the ticket or like came into the political scene. So I really feel like in 2015 and everyone was like, yeah, it's like CNN and MSNBC. I'm like, Fox is like this massive conglomerate with a bunch of corporate interests.
Right?
They're definitely mainstream media. And to not do that is just like putting your partisan politics, or not admit that, sorry, is to put your partisan politics over reality.
That's such a good point, and I've heard because like we have Fox on a lot often in the house. It's just like I don't know. It's just like out of habit. It's always kind of on.
Mhm.
But I know I've heard Sean Hannity say many times he'll refer to CNN and basically leftist media as mainstream media, and it's like, dude,
Breathe the room.
you're too old to say that. That's what us kids are saying. You're too old to say that, Sean. Yeah. Also, you guys are part of the machine. I mean, it's slightly better, I guess, but
It is. It's because they're willing to touch more stories than not, but they still have their issues. And like, I'm not going to get into it, but they definitely have their issues over there that I don't think you would see at Newsmax. And even when Newsmax did have issues, like I remember there was something in New York studio where they had some sort of like jab requirement for like a hot second.
okay.
All the hosts, like they don't just preach something on air and practice something differently. They were like, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. We don't tell our audience one thing and do the other. And New York, they were just, I think it was like the company trying to abide by the city's restrictions and blah, 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 while simultaneously like keeping as many people employed. I get it.
Wow.
Line to walk, but the hosts were like, hell no, I'm not coming in. I'll do a remote set. Like they figured it out. And it was just like, I think being on the inside of it during that, I was like, dang, I have a lot of respect for these people because they're not just going on air and telling you how to think and how to act and, how to combat the libs and own the libs.
Oh, yeah.
The libs themselves by acting things out. I'm more of a visual learner myself. So
there is a lot of that. Yeah, I think Sirius XM is an example of like corporate media that they fully went it all in on the backs.
Really?
And like I've done some shows over there, obviously since they've dropped the mandate for all of New York State, but listening to some of the people who are like talent and tech, it's like a lot of them were just in a position. It's really sad to hear people talk about it. They're like, well, I had to. I have a whole family. I have all these kids to feed, and it's like, man, like I'm so lucky that I lost my job over not getting vaccinated, but that I could afford to not lose it. Like had I had kids already, like if I had been in a different position, I probably still would have. Because that's one of the reasons that I didn't get the jab is I knew I wanted to try to get pregnant and I knew it wasn't tested on pregnant women. So I was like, yeah, it's not for me. It's not enough of a risk. It's not worth it to be this like old man's office slave. No. So
I get that. I vibe with that hard.
It was corporate media. It was like a big media company, and I was like an executive assistant to a very high ranking CEO type, and it was kind of in the, I'll say, the awards show sphere. I don't know. I learned a lot. I really learned a lot, and then I was politically radicalized, and here I am.
Welcome, sister.
Enough about me. How did were you raised sort of conservative or Republican? Have you always been outspoken, or did you ever have a brainwashed liberal time in college that you had to grow out of?
A little. Like, so my mom, I make this joke, and I am joking that my mom would rather me be gay than a Democrat. She really just hates Democrats with a burning passion and zeal. I love her to death. And like, if she ever saw this, I hope like she would laugh because I'm just kidding. But like, she's an incredibly irrational person. Like, she's not the person you want to go door knocking. Like, she has Fox News on all the time. And then she comes to the dinner table and she yells about what she heard on Fox News. And I'm like, I was listening
classic. That's like my in-laws. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my father-in-law specifically.
She's just, the crazy part is she's really not that old. Like, she acts like she's in her 70s. I'm like, girl, you're still in your 50s. Like, what are you, why are you acting like this? She's a nutty girl, but I love her in the best way possible. So she had those values instilled in me from a very young age. And then when I went off to college, I knew I was a Republican, but I didn't quite know why, because that decision had already been kind of made for me, for better lack of a term. So I knew that that's what I was. And I went to college, and through the 4 years, kind of confirmed why I thought the way I thought. And the good thing is that in those 4 years, I had the time to explore. Like, I could have easily become a shit lib, and that would have been whatever. Like, they couldn't change my mind. They were in Texas and I was in Michigan. So it's not like they could have done anything. I could have changed my mind. But I really genuinely came to those conclusions. And what was interesting is the more I researched about it, the more I wouldn't say I was far from a rhino, the more I became almost like a conspiracy theorist conservative is kind of how I've branded myself, of like, the more I lean into it, the more I realized that being a Republican was actually just as embarrassing as being a Democrat, because
Wow.
Republicans are moronic as well. They're like actual elected Republicans are so stupid that I was like, I just need to be conservative or like conspiracy theorist adjacent, because these people make sense. They're interested in truth. I'm interested in truth. I don't really care if the truth falls in line with the policy that the Democrats have. Like, okay, then Republicans, y'all got it wrong. Most of the time I align with you, but that's not the case. That's not the case. I don't really care. So that's kind of where I landed over time, but I think it took me a while. And in that, I did go through like this minor neocon phase, but I think that was a boyfriend, and we dumped him and we dumped the neocon phase. So it was short-lived.
It sounds like you got out of it pretty unscathed. That doesn't
Yeah.
sound too bad at all. Did you ever take a women's studies course?
No, actually I got pretty combative with professors. And this is why something I wouldn't recommend, it's like kind of how my personality is that I could see a professor was like trying to brainwash us in some sociology 101 class my freshman year. And I was like, you are so biased. Like, this is not a politics class. I have a recorded version of it on my phone. I was like, I asked the class, I'm like, raise your hand if you don't know who you're voting for. And like half the class raised their hand. And I was like, you're making an impressionable action on all of these people who have no clue who they're voting for. They're first-time voters. This is 2016 that I was in this class. And you're trying to pressure people to vote a certain way in sociology 101. Like, F off. And what was so ironic is I was like in a political statistics degree.
Chrissy.
Thank you. I did not care what that woman thought of me. I thought, worst comes to worst, she's going to fail me. I thought this all the time throughout college. I was like, worst comes to worst, I get a bad degree. Who cares? Like, my future employer doesn't care as long as I passed or graduated, So like, they're not going to see that I got a D in sociology.
Since
not that
you
I
had
did
an outburst in sociology. You want to explain yourself?
Whatever. Like, actually, if anything, they'd be proud. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to start doing that in classes. Like, if I don't agree with something, I'll just call it out. And it was really funny because the classes that I was supposed to be in, like, I don't even know what's like 101 classes, like English 101 or writing 102 or something. Those are when the professors were hella lib and they would like really get into it with you. But the political science teachers, I had a focus in political science, they didn't care at all. They loved that you were to have a different opinion than most of the people in the classroom, and they thought it was great, and they would try to foster debate, and they were awesome. It was just ironic that the politics teachers weren't interested in being libs, and they probably were libs, but the sociology teachers were so interested in indoctrinating you and getting it down their throat as if it was their job.
Whew. Yeah, I remember I was a communications major. I did have a women's studies minor, but only because my studio art professor really pissed me off because I had to do this installation art class. It was like part of the, nobody wants to do installation art. It's for weirdos. And I was like, I don't know. I was hanging something up and I broke a light and I got a D or like a C in art. I got a C for the class. And I was like, Chrissie Mayr does not get C's in art. And then I just bailed out of the minor entirely. way to win the situation. But and then I just was like, I'm gonna take it was only 4 classes, but I did get my women's studies minor. And there was a semester where I was in both ecofeminism, which was all chicks, 1 boy in the whole class, and sports broadcasting, and that was all dudes, and I was the 1 chick in the class, and that was the same semester. So it was really like the full range of possibilities there. But I also was in college, like in the early aughts before things got really bad.
Yeah, I was graduating as things were getting as extreme as they were. I graduated in 19 and I started to notice things were going down the wayside in 2018. Like a real marked difference from when I came in versus when I left.
Wow. And what school did you go to in Michigan?
Michigan State.
Oh, Michigan State. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're a little bit less of dickheads than Michigan, but not really.
That's interesting. So, and did you know you wanted to do a podcast or host a show out the gate?
Kinda. Yeah. I always know I want to do this. I grew up a dancer, so I always liked the aspect of performance.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, so I liked the aspect of performing, and I like to talk. So I figured, why not combine the two into something that I've been around my whole life? Like I said, my mom loved to talk about politics, brought it up all the time. So it's like I'm well versed in this for someone my age, right? If I could just read and study a little bit about it, I'd probably be pretty good at this. So yeah, got into it and right out the gate in 2019 as a campaign reporter for the Federalist on the trail covering the 2020 election. And yeah, just never left. Been to a lot of places, done a lot of different things, but independent has been the most fun route for sure.
Good for you for dancing. I always think like either dance or being in some kind of sport as a kid really gives you discipline and sets you up for a lifetime
Girl,
of
I know. I feel like when I tell
hard.
people I danced, they're like, "Oh, like you were a ballerina or something." First of all, I'm not built to be a ballerina. Absolutely not. No way, shape, or form in that kind of thing. I was actually on an all-male hip hop team, and it was like
yes.
the most intense thing I've ever been. And to this day, I've never experienced anything as intense as what I did probably the last 2 or 3 years of dancing. I was 16 years old and you would show up to the dance studio for practice at 6 p.m. on a Wednesday night. You would not go home till 2 a.m. And
No, stop it.
people
Was
think that this
cool?
is like the craziest thing. We were brainwashed into this cult called dance. And we never lost. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like this was the coolest thing ever. We were like, every dance competition we went to, we won everything. We were the shit. Our dancers have gone on to perform for Justin Bieber. I literally will turn on award shows or music videos and I'm like, dance with her, dance with him, turn on
group? What was like
It's called Extreme Dance Force. It's based in Chicago, like suburban Chicago. If you ever look it up.
I'm gonna look it up
Really
now.
interesting just how they've been on America's Got Talent, all the show. Like this thing was insane. And I just cannot believe I look back on it and I'm like, that was crazy that I did that. I can't believe my parents let me do that.
Wow.
Driving home at 16 years old at 2 a.m. on a Thursday morning, technically, after dancing all night. Then you have to go to school and everything.
Yeah.
Just
wow.
literally nuts, but it's taught me the best work ethic, and I think that's what makes it so
Was this
great.
you? Were you this little girl right
I don't
here?
think that's it.
No, it's
Unless
his
they like
extreme
changed
dance
their
force.
logo. Let me see if I can find it. I don't even the Extreme Dance Force, Naperville, Illinois.
Oh boy.
I'm like looking it up, see if I can.
Extreme.
Yeah, extremedanceforce.com.
Dance Force Extreme.
See if you can. I don't even know. No, that's not it.
Oh boy. Okay.
It's funny. They're they're insanely talented for kids, 18-year-olds. But yeah, no, that was my whole life. And I really have never, ever experienced anything quite like that in my entire life. So it prepped me a lot for what we did now. Cause dude, I graduated college and the pandemic hit the next year. So I've never had an in-office job. I've always worked from home. So thank goodness for Extreme and everything that it taught me. Cause I don't know where else I'd get a work ethic from.
That's really amazing. Wow. Okay. Do you get into so my all-time favorite movies are it's Pitch Perfect and then also Center Stage, Black Swan.
Okay, dude, me and my husband are obsessed with Pitch Perfect. There are certain songs that we can't hear, like most of them we can't hear without doing the Pitch Perfect like isms to them.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Da 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 da.
Like we know all. I'll be at a bar and they'll be like the Kelly Clarkson song, and I'll be there. Wow.
Since you've been gone.
Still, we'll never get over it. It's my favorite. We love that movie. Can do the whole dances too, which is pretty pathetic, but yeah.
It's such a feel-good movie. Ugh.
Someone asked, is my husband gay? No, he's just really funny.
No, he's
you don't give a supportive. Yeah. No, he loved those movies before Ivy. Like he is so funny. I just love him. You know when a man just does not care or give an F what anybody thinks.
That's great.
I love it.
So great. So you had what age were you when you started dancing?
12.
And
Yeah.
then so you went like basically all through high school. Did you do it in college at all?
Yeah. No, I taught a little on the side to make money, mostly to go on spring break, but I think I just had dedicated so much of my life, and I look back on it and I regret it, but I also see where I was coming from at that age because I was stupid. I just dedicated my life to something I didn't get to go to the football games. I didn't have
Mm.
normal proms or anything like that because everything was committed to dance and committed to this one thing that when college came around and I got accepted into a big school and I knew I wanted to do like a sorority and do all the dumb shit, I was like, why don't I just go all in, like on this whole college thing? And so I put it to the side and kind of put it to rest. And then I moved to DC after college and again, was a journalist, so needed money. So taught on the side. But actually, really, I guess the reason I quit was because I just had such a bad experience with the younger generation of kids.
Oh,
They
wow.
said, okay, I'm like 5'2", 125 pounds. Okay. Not a big chick. Okay. Some 17-year-old child told me I was the meanest and scariest teacher he'd ever had in his entire life. And I'm like,
Wow.
what about me is scary? I'm like this tiny little thing. I'm just teaching you dance. And apparently I had asked too much of them when I told them that
Oh,
they had to do
please.
push-ups.
I'd be like, I'd get a cigarette out of nowhere. This is showbiz, baby. Get used to it. We're going to chew you up and spit you out.
Okay, so the kid's mom called the studio and said I was more mean and scary than his football coach. I said, does your football coach have a pussy?
Yeah. This is dance, baby. There's no slacking
It's
allowed.
not that scary. Jeez.
That's really cool. I think I started at like 10 or 11 and I went through college. But when you are in your formidable years dedicating to something like that requires what, like it was like 2-3 hours of practice a night, and it was like I did diving, and there was like I did it on the side too, and there really was no season for it. Like the true season is the competition season is what, like winter, but then in college it's like basically all year long, and then I would do like the side teams. So you're doing it basically all year long, and it's hours and hours, and you have to fit in homework and everything else. And I definitely feel with the whole, like, you didn't have a regular high school experience, but like all you missed out on was like, drinking and getting into trouble.
Yeah, I don't think I missed out on it at all.
No. That's what we're going to call this show, My Two Chrissies. How cool. Okay. So you start, how does Newsmax find you?
Oh, gosh, I wish I remember. Like, I feel like my first year out of college was such a blur with COVID and everything. But I was working for the Federalist, which is a pretty big news outlet in DC. And I'd been pitching myself to Fox and any TV station that would kind of take me. I was looking for just an opportunity to practice. And I guess I just started like kind of pitching myself out and found a producer that liked me and just kept routinely being like, they would ask me to come on, I would come on, and I just made myself available. And then one of the VPs, I guess, was watching a newer talent on the network and saw me on there and asked for my email and reached out to me and said, hey, like, we like you. You should come and do more for our channel. And at the time, I just gotten a job with the Daily Wire and I knew I was moving out to Nashville. So I was like, well, I'm actually just about to leave. So I presented them with my offer. They presented me with theirs. And I decided to actually take the Daily Wire one. And when Daily Wire and I parted ways, I went back to Newsmax and said, hey, I'm not looking to move. And I actually don't even really like the job that you have, or that you had offered. But tell me about this. Like, have you guys done like a contributorship before? And they're like, no, well, we're just like kind of thinking about maybe getting one off the ground. I'm like, well, if you do, let me know. And the next week I had a contract in my inbox. And I was like, oh, great, cool. I guess I'm a contributor now. So it's kind of my first venture into independent journalism, which was pretty cool.
That's awesome. How is it like working for the Daily Wire?
Can't say a thing.
Okay. Right. Duh. I was looking for good stuff, but then I remember they had their whole drama. Okay. We're going to move on. Everything is great. What was it like You attended the new media briefing at the White House.
Yeah, that was really cool, dude. I don't even know how to put it. It was a cool experience within itself, right? Like you're at the White House, you're with only a handful of people, you get access to the press briefing like room. Well, it's technically the old room that Joe Biden turned into the Oval Office that they created so they could use like fake little press briefings or whatever. And so we were in that studio area. It was really cool. But I think maybe one of the most eye-opening parts of it wasn't even the process of it. It was how cool and normal Caroline Leavitt is. And I don't mean this in a I don't mean this in a
cool and normal.
I know, I don't mean this in a mean way. Like she is so, the whole deal. She's the it girl of MAGA right now. So I don't mean this. She just comes across as very like, poised and put together. And I'm
So
very like,
poised. So much grace.
Yes. And I don't necessarily exude that same poise and grace 24/7.
You have a little grace.
No,
Do you watch
little
Seinfeld?
little bit. But yeah, it was just like, I don't know. Anyway, seeing her in person, this girl is a twig, okay? I don't know what the cameras are doing with the podium. She is so tiny. She's so pretty. She exudes so much confidence. She's so freaking normal. Like so normal and cool and like funny and with it. And you can just we're the same age. Like her and I are the exact same age. So
how old? What? She was born in 1997.
Same, yeah.
What is that? What does that make her? Hold on.
We're 27.
She's only 27?
Yeah, dude. And
what?
I think that's where I like was always looking at her and I'm like, oh my gosh, how is she like this at 27? Like I was more so curious about her upbringing. I'm like, listen, I know we mature. I'm definitely more mature than I was at 25 or even 26 or now I'm 28. So I guess I'm a little bit more mature, but I'm like, I haven't changed that much. And then to see her
so mature. It's like she's an adult. Like I look at her, go, she's more adult than me.
But in real life, she's so much like, not that she's not normal. She's just more like relaxed. Like she seems like a real human being. And so that was cool to like actually decompress, watch her do her thing. Like, because we got to do the briefing, but we also got to watch them like make content for the White House, which is pretty cool as well.
Cool.
To see how it goes behind the scenes. And like, as somebody that creates content here all day, to watch them do the exact same thing that we do. Make mistakes, make riffs, know that there's going to be a jump cut there. Like it was just, I don't know. It made me feel like the whole thing was more real.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to pull up this photo. Oh my God. I love this photo of her with her husband and the baby.
She's so cute.
So cute. This little bean is so cute.
So cute.
Oh my God. How old's the husband? He's probably a little older. Is he what, 50?
Yeah, he's like, I think that's like a whole controversy though. Cause like, he is like old.
He's old. How old is the husband? We must know. How old is, wait. Oh, it'll come up. Nicholas. Oh, he's 59.
Yeah.
Woo. Wow, that's wow.
Yeah. I know.
Okay. Good for him. She's a catch. Is he rich? I must know. What's the deal?
I don't know. I get that a lot. People are like, "Can you explain to me why this?" I'm like, "I don't know. That's just not my business." You know, I could speculate, but
in January, just days before the inauguration.
Wow. Wait, this year?
Yes.
No way. She already has a
baby.
Caroline Leavitt wedding. I swear it was like a while ago.
No, it said the couple married in January, days before Trump's second inauguration.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe she was pregnant already.
But her kid is like...
Maybe they had the kid already?
Maybe.
We're going to pull up wedding photos. Sorry, guys.
I'm looking at them right now, so I'm glad we can all do it together.
This is urgent. And this might not be what you tuned in for, but tough noogies. All right. How cute. Oh, so cute. I love that dress.
You're
How
right.
cute.
Imagine getting married to your husband with right before you're about to take on the biggest job.
The biggest job in the
I was in the
world.
hospital 2 days after my wedding with kidney stones because it stressed me out so much.
Oh no. What a cute dress. It looks like a cute, like low-key wedding.
Yeah. No, it's not like crazy obnoxious.
What if when was the baby born?
Well, Google.
Okay, all right. Sorry, we have to find this. He looks like less than a year. So maybe
Yeah.
she was pregnant. Oh, he was born in 2024. When was Nico born? He was born in 2024.
He was born July 10th, 2024.
Okay, so baby first.
Baby first.
Baby first, then marriage.
You know, I'm surprised the media hasn't made that a whole bigger thing.
Right. It's not very trad wife of her.
Yeah.
Good for her. She really has her shit together, so I don't have a bad thing to say about her.
There had to be something wrong, quote unquote, with her. Something.
Hold on.
Too perfect.
My producer sent me something. Is this relevant? This is an extreme dance force video. I can't play this. This is a Chris Brown song. I'm gonna get copy struck. I can't do it.
To answer your question, that is my dance company, but that was 7 years ago, so I sadly was not there.
She's 27 going on 45. I agree, Carolyn. She just like she talks like she's lived a life already. She's an old soul.
Yeah, I know. There are a lot of girls in the media space that do that. I feel like I'm alone in the women in media who act the age that I like, or how I perceive somebody in their 20s to act. I feel like everybody I know on socials or like in my sphere is like 26 acting like they're 18 or 26 acting like they're 45, and there's just no in between.
Yeah, I agree. You definitely. You seem 25.
I'll take it. Cool.
She married into the mob. That's even cooler.
Yeah, that makes her cooler.
More than twice her age. Why not?
I like it.
Not? Okay. I love that. So when did you start to become okay, so you're married.
Mm-hmm.
And do you deem yourself to be a trad wife, or when did you start to kind of notice the trad wife versus feminism movement? Probably college.
Yeah, I actually think I was pretty aware of it at actually a really young age. And I look back on it, and this sounds like really cuckoo conspiracy theory of me, but I got on birth control when I was like 11 years old, and I swear it is the indoctrination pill of the feminists.
You were on birth control at 11?
11 until like a couple years ago. So wow. I was always on that thing. It was like whatever. And I remember my mom had said something. We were in some sort of argument. I was probably like 13 or 14. And I was like, well, I don't want to be lame like you and stay at home, like do nothing all day, but fold laundry. I want to have a real job. And I like, now I look back and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? That was she had the life.
You're like, I want to be cool. I want to be out there with the people.
Right. So I just thought I had it all figured out. And so I think that rebellion against whatever my mom did, I just wanted to do the opposite, kind of fueled and ignited that feminist urge in me to like be a girl boss and whatever. And I think that only expedited when I started dating men in college too, because every man I met was just truly the biggest weenie of all time. And that proceeded until I met my husband, in all honesty. That was, a really big game changer for me. And now it's interesting. Now I just like to look at it, like I said, like through the lens of truth and also a little bit of my experience and what I'm observing around me. And I just think that I fall somewhere in between. Like most days, I really love working my job. I have a great job. I'm at my home. I can be a homemaker. while simultaneously like having a job. My husband has an office job. He goes to the office at 7:30. He doesn't come home till 5:30. So like get him off to work, get him his lunch, get him all his things, like be a good wife. And then from like, 9 to 4, I get to work here and do this kind of stuff. And that's awesome. I kind of get the best of both worlds in the phase of life that we're in right now. But I realize that that's not always going to be the case. And then there's going to be a time when my career goes on the back burner because we have family to take care of, and I'm not going to have the government take care of my family. And then my kid's going to go off, and I see so many moms time and time again do the same thing over and over again. And I'm sure it's going to be me too, where your whole identity is in your baby and your child. And then, there's no career, there's nothing else but family to fall back on. And that can be a really hard transition back into the workforce. And so it's one of those things where I'm like, I want to be running in my life personally a multifaceted oven where we turn some pots down, if not off, put them on simmer for a little, but never quite get them fully off. And I just do think that there is a little bit of best of both worlds. I can't stand the trad wives that I know. If you're a trad wife, you're a trad wife. You don't have time to make full-time content on social media. That's called having a fucking job. It drives me nuts. I'm like, you have a job, babe. It's called the internet. It's called making social media posts. That's a job. Anyway, so that irks me. And then I kind of can't stand like the full-time feminists that are like, F the patriarchy, men aren't great. I'm like, oh, you're just dating the wrong men. Like,
Absolutely.
There are great ones that will make you feel secure and awesome and provide for you emotionally and mentally and financially and all the things.
And how many of these F the patriarchy chicks are working for a dude or working for a huge corporation or like
always without fail.
Mm-hmm.
Always. It's the girls that are conservative are all working for these like smaller corporations. I've always noticed that. They're like, I'd rather be at a startup making less money, but doing something that I love and enjoy. I'm like, yeah, you've got that in you. It's like a gene or genetic thing where you're like driven to like be part of something, have meaning, have purpose in something, actually elicit change and have change and impact over like a small group of people, just like you would in a family. I start to notice the pattern a little there.
Right? Isn't that funny? Yeah, you could toil away, give the best years of your life to some boss and maybe never get a raise, or the raise that you think you deserve, or the bonuses you think you deserve, or the you may never move up the corporate ladder, or get that promotion. Then all these years have gone by and you're like, oh, and then they can just fire you like you're nothing, and then you have nothing to show for it. I mean, yeah, you have your resume, but
even then, I know from experience, they can delete years of your experience that you've done and put on the internet, and then all poof, can be gone. So
that's really scary. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I mean, I worked for a media company where they had my YouTube channel. I built for them, and then they just erased me from it and deleted my entire digital footprint that I had spent a year and a half building for them.
Whoa.
Okay, now I have nothing to show for it. Now it's just my word. It's just fine.
That's horrible. So if there are any college girls listening to this podcast and they're going, okay, I would love to have the kind of life that Chrissy has. What does that look like? How do you structure your day? How do you be your own boss?
Yeah. Huh. I don't know. I mean, I had to work for other people first, right? And I wish when I worked for other people that I would have listened more. But I do. I really do. But now in retrospect, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to listen a lot now. But I had so many good ideas that no one would listen to. And I think everyone feels that way. And some of my ideas were actually crap. Some of them were good. Some of them were crap, and that's okay. But I was so headstrong in like getting out there and doing the next thing. And when I was about 6 or 7 months into my job, I kind of felt like I was like at this, I just wanted to be unleashed. I wanted someone to believe in me and like to do something. And I had the work ethic and all these things. And they were just kind of like, listen, we believe in you, but truly, I mean it when I say no one cares what 23-year-olds have to say about the world. And I was like, okay, so what should I do? And they're like, slow down. Like, slow down, read a book, and just get experience. And I think that's really frustrating for everybody. And like, you can relate to this if you're in your 50s, if you're in your 70s, if you're, 14 right now. Like, there are seasons of life where you're meant to prep and you're meant to wait and you're meant to like learn a lot, and it's not for no reason. And I definitely feel like up until pretty recently, I was in that season of baking and cooking and it, like doing all of the things in my career to get me to a place where I wanted to be more independent, and I could be more independent because I had built things up. But it was being okay with patience, and then consistency. Literally consistency was key. I started seeing huge numbers on TikTok and Instagram when I made a big change in making content every single day, like it was my full-time job when I had a full-time job, which was not easy because a lot of the times, I'm working. I think Daily Wire, when I was working at the Daily Wire was when I was doing the most stuff. I'm doing all of this work all day for the Daily Wire. And there was a point in time where I was living in DC, but I would fly to Nashville to like do a shoot or something like that.
Wow.
And I would still make time. I literally would be at the airport recording on TikTok on my phone to make sure I got that video out. And that's when I really started to see a change. So I would say like consistency and then not being sad when it doesn't perform, because it's not going to perform automatically. Like it took time to grow that following. And Chrissy, like you've done the same thing. It's not like you just woke up and you had an audience of people ready to watch your comedy. Like it took time to grow that and to get it where it is. And you can be proud of it, but no, like if you just stopped doing shows and you died off the internet, like, it would take time to build that back.
Nothing is ever solid. You have to keep working to maintain what you have and build, because there's always gonna be people falling off. It can very easily all go away quickly.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's super fleeting. I mean, I think about it all the time. It's so interesting because you come into this world of journalism or like content creation with a group of people that like graduate around the same time as you. And it's very interesting to see in, I guess, the 6-7 years I've been doing this, how few of us are actually left. It's very interesting. And I think that was one of the motivating factors of like those days I really wanted to quit, those days I did not want to do another video and I was done. I was like, I'm just not going to be the one that quits. Like I'm going to be there at the finish line. And people might be like, well, that's kind of shocking, but I'm going to do it.
What's your process like for creating content?
It depends on the day. Like I said, or you said at the top of the show, do a podcast on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that is like long form prep. It's really newsy. So, and like I said, very truth focused. So it's a lot of fact checking and then fact checking and all of that to make sure that what I'm bringing to people is 100% accurate. Otherwise I have to issue corrections and I don't really like to be wrong. So that's kind of annoying, but I will do it. I'll always admit when I'm wrong, but I just would rather not. So I'm like, let's just do the work up front, So a lot of prep on Tuesday and Thursdays and then recording the show, sometimes with guests, sometimes on my own. It's really fun. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have a lot more wiggle room for making long or short form content. So today I made a bunch of short form content that will go out throughout the rest of this week. And that allows me to be more present in like the actual news and development of the podcast. And if there's a breaking one-off story, like I'll make a video quickly, no problem. But it does like allow me a little bit of breathing room. And then sometimes if I have a light day, which has been rare recently, I'll like batch make content because you just never know when you're going to get sick or something like that. And I was hitting myself because last Thursday, allergies hit me, like slammed me like a wall, and I just could not get out of bed. And I overdosed on Benadryl a little too. And might have taken 3 or 4. Oops. So there's no chance I was getting out. And I was like, oh, dang. A couple weeks ago, I was too lazy to make 2 extra videos. And now there's nothing on my socials for the rest of the week. So that was a good reminder. Sometimes you got to like fail to build back up. But I was like,
you're also allowed to be sick.
Yeah, no, I know. But if the goal is to grow and the goal is to be consistent, like, let her go. Get her up if you can. But yeah, no, you're right. I can be sick too.
I'm inspired. I am. I'd never had TikTok just because I didn't want the damn Chinese knowing my every move. But
I love TikTok.
It sounds like I should just go ahead and get it.
It's the best, dude. I know people hate me for saying this, and that's totally fine. But I was a huge advocate of it in 2019 when I got on it, because I immediately saw that everybody my age and younger was on there. That's where I don't think my sister even uses Instagram. She's like 2 years younger than me. I don't even think she touches Instagram. No, it is all about TikTok. Everybody's only on TikTok. They only communicate through TikTok and Snapchat. Like My brother-in-law.
Snapchat still? Okay.
Oh my
wow.
gosh, my brother-in-law, I can't text him. I can only Snapchat message him. Like,
What is
it's
wrong
the
with
nuttiest
people?
thing. That's how they communicate. And so I figured, well, why not bring conservative messaging or at least like truthful news to people where they're at? They're not using Instagram. They're not watching Fox News. Okay. They're not watching this stuff. So why not put it where they're at? And that was the easiest thing. I mean, I never had social media before like that I used professionally. I used it all like personally for fun. And all of a sudden I started posting about this and I had 100,000 followers in a couple months. I was like, whoa, that's craziness. So I just know the app is the way it's built is built for virality, probably stealing your data just a smidgel, but so does Airbnb. So,
Wow. All right. No more Airbnb for me.
yeah, no, don't do that. Seriously, they sell your data to China.
Wow. But what are they really selling? Like this person likes to go to the Poconos. Like what data?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like your home address and all that information that people are worried about getting out from
So
TikTok.
if you start getting Chinese mail, you know why.
Yeah, well, and Meta sends all of our metadata to China anyway too. So if you're on social media, you might as
So
well
if you're
just
on
get TikTok and
Facebook or
enjoy.
Instagram, it's already there.
Yeah, if not, it's kind of a little worse. So you might as well just get on TikTok and enjoy the brain rot.
Okay.
You're like, I'm not
motiv-
convincing you.
No, I feel like I'm probably too old for TikTok, but
I think you would be no. There is a whole hype house full of grandpas. Okay, Chrissy, I will not take this slander. I will not take this slander. No, I know it's not for everybody, but it is really funny. And I feel like there are people online, and I'm not saying this is you. I just always see like men online telling me they're like, I wouldn't use TikTok. Like, I don't want my brain to rot like that. I'm like, you're no fun. Like, it's just a little fun. Like, it's just a little fun to be a little stupid. Come on, I can't be serious all the time. And that's why I'm not Caroline Levitt, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And the truth is everyone is a little stupid. And if you pretend you're not, you're kidding yourself.
You're so right.
It's true. The idea, I like to follow Ballerina Farm. She does she'll make pasta from scratch. I have to find this video. It's probably on Instagram somewhere, but
girl, if
she
you
makes
like Ballerina Farm, you are gonna love TikTok and Trad Wife TikTok.
Trad Wife TikTok is gonna give me a complex, I think, because I'm not cooking things from scratch. I'm not tearing around in an apron.
It's a full-time job. I made a video about how Ballerina Farm. I'm like, if you think you want a trad wife like Ballerina Farm, then you want a multi-million-dollar business operated out of your home, and that's a big ask.
They have many, many employees. They have many kids. I don't know how she does it. That's because she has a ton of help. That's why.
Yes, that's the only way she does it.
Yeah, they have many indentured servants. I think he had family money. She was a Juilliard ballerina and then just was like, whoop, I'm just gonna be a trad wife.
Yeah, he worked for, or his dad created JetBlue, or grandpa created JetBlue.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That'll do it.
But yet there's no airplanes themes in any of her content. So
you would think.
We really would think so. Do you have any thoughts on this? And I just learned of this yesterday, embarrassingly enough, but I didn't know about this story. Her name is Resa Ourk, and she we were talking about this on Simcast last night. She was a student, I think, at was it Tufts, and she got involved in a little bit of activism, and she wrote the school that they needed to divest from Israeli companies. And then they ended up kind of they didn't deport her or anything, but she was arrested, and it was kind of a bit of a free speech issue that we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one in specific, but it doesn't shock me. So what the Trump administration is doing is they're going and they're trying to get students that are on student visas, and they're trying to get them out of the country because they're on the pathway to legal immigration, but they simultaneously hate America. It's the most stupid oxymoron I've ever heard in my life. Let me become an American citizen, but I also hate America. And as someone who's not from, like, I'm Canadian, I was born in Canada and now I'm American. I can't imagine the stupidity that would have to rot in your brain for you to go, I want to become a citizen of this country, but I also effing hate this country. You're stupid. But what's really interesting about the story that you said is that it takes place in Louisiana, because that's where that detention facility is. So I've been watching the patterns of the Trump administration right now. And in New York, the immigration lawyers right now, they're getting smart on this. So what the Trump administration is trying to do is, like, no matter where this is taking place, traditionally on the West Coast, the East Coast, and then in the Southeast, they're trying to immediately, once these students get detained, send them down to the Louisiana detention facility, because those cases get heard in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeal, which is like a very Trump-friendly court. Whereas if you get stuck up in the Second Court of Appeals in Manhattan, I don't think I need to explain to your audience, they don't freaking like Trump at all.
Letitia James, yeah.
Yes, all those people that we know from all of Trump's myriad of different trials. So what's interesting with someone like Ramicia, or however you say her name, is that this is taking place in Louisiana. So they're going to do this. They're going after people. Oh, wait, no. She was in Vermont?
Rumeysa, Rumeysa Ozturk.
Yeah.
She was here on a student visa.
Yeah, and she was in Vermont, and they were able to expedite her out to that Louisiana detention center before she could get there. Otherwise, this would be taking place in Manhattan as opposed to in Texas, which is just so, that's where the courts are.
Right, because Tufts is in Louisiana, and I think she's maybe from Massachusetts, or like,
yes,
or that's where her family lives or something.
Interesting. So yeah, I've heard a little bit about this. I just think it's really fascinating. I know this is like alongside another case called like Mohsen Mandawi and what's the main guy's name? Who's at Columbia? Mahmoud Khalil. Those two were also, you know, they're in these ICE detention facilities. I think Mandawi actually self-deported, which, you know, it just, like I said, I just don't understand it. I don't understand the mentality of being like, I hate America. America stands for everything that I disagree with. And yeah, they're like, why be here? I mean, I'm wouldn't say I'm like a world traveler. Like I've not seen many parts of the world, but I've been to enough places in the world to know, like, there are plenty of great places to live besides America. Nothing's as good as here. Of course, this is the best place to be, but there are other like very livable, wonderful places to live in this world. So I just like don't understand what the point of trying to take this country down is and why people are so hell bent on it. Unless, of course, that's your entire ideology. It's like taking down the West and you're starting with the kingpin. That's the only way it makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense to me too, because you're not going to make your country like it's just you're not going to replicate America. It's interesting. It's like people want it both ways. They don't want to assimilate. They want to just make it like from back home, but you know, in this country, and it's they don't really see or care how it kind of brings everybody down.
Yeah, like there's a way that things are done for a reason. And I think that there's such an interesting way that we, growing up in the 90s and early 2000s, like we learned a lot about like culture, right? Like be accepting of somebody's culture. And I'm totally cool with the idea of people from all over the world coming here and having different cultures in their home, in their personal beliefs, blah, blah, blah. Like that doesn't really irk me, but there's a difference between having your culture and refusing to assimilate. Assimilation requires leaving parts of your culture that are completely antithetical to all Western values that you wouldn't feel assimilated in the UK, Germany, Sweden, like all of these countries with liberal-ish values, you would not feel aligned or assimilated to. For some reason, that's like the meanest thing to say if you're American, but the French can totally say it. It's like the dumbest thing in my mind. I don't understand that.
That's a really good point. Like, well, because like America, yeah, we have to care about everybody's feelings, even the people that are trying to take the country down. Oh, we can't be racist, but it's like
I know
other countries get to be racist. That's not fair.
Sweden's like the most racist country. Have you ever seen the Japanese commercials of black people? Like,
yeah, they're throwing them in the washing machine. Like that's great.
Like, come on. I don't know.
We need to have that here. I'm just kidding, of course. Okay, this was a fun little. I wanted to play this clip. Is my mouse? Okay, my mouse is protesting. I wanted to play this little clip. I think I saw this one. God, this is from Bruce Springsteen. I'm so tired of this like celebrity activism, and when I see the ones that are still doing it, I'm just like, why? How is this going well for you? So this is Bruce Springsteen.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Trump won. Get over it. Sing your dumb songs. Sip your Metamucil and get on with your life.
That won't bow down to their ideological demands. They're removing residents off American streets and without due process of law are deporting them to foreign detention centers and prisons. This is all happening now.
Look at this absolute twat in the front row looking like a child. Like she should be wearing a helmet. She's got a rainbow outfit on and a Black Lives Matter fist in the air. What is this? What is the message?
That's a them for sure. That's the major they them energy.
The majority of our elected representatives have failed to protect the American people from the abuses of an unfit president.
You want to talk about unfit presidents now that it's just come out that Biden's basically been dead the last 2 years?
So stupid.
How hypocritical he must feel now.
They have no concern or idea of what it means to be deeply American. The America that I've sung to you about for 50 years is real. And regardless of its faults, is a great country with a great...
Do you think Bruce Springsteen is like, traveling in New York City amongst the illegals, like having a hard time getting a hotel room because they're all full of illegals? Do you think he's like in the midst of these people? Like any of this affects him? No.
Absolutely not. And the people that it affects the most is usually immigrants who are here illegally, who live in impoverished areas of the country, or honestly, it's usually Hispanic and Black kids that are American citizens that have to deal with this. And why should they have to deal with this? In Chicago, there are people out there protesting at the city council meetings being like, please, seriously, stop sending these illegal immigrants here. They're taking our resources, and I live in America. I am an American, and I want to suck on the government's teeth. So F off. It's my teeth.
It's my teeth. MTB Steve. Politics will ruin music, already ruined Hollywood. So true.
That's a great point, though, Steve, saying like it's ruined Hollywood more than it has music, right? Because you're usually listening to people talk and rant about politics, and then you watch them on a movie screen and they're still talking. It's like that verbal. Whereas in music, so much of it, like they'll say stupid crap, but then you get to listen to them sing, and there's something auditory. There's the different auditory stimulation.
Different person.
Yeah, it makes it a little different. That's what's so unfortunate is like usually I can separate the artist from the art, right? Like a lot of people hate Morgan Wallen. I love Morgan Wallen. When he threw a chair off of a building, okay, maybe not his brightest moment, still love the guy, but whatever. And I'm just like, can you not separate his good music from the fact that he's like a drunk conservative? Like, why is that so difficult for liberals to do? But like, I do it all the time. I like listening to Sabrina Carpenter sometimes, and I'm like, she's a lib and she's definitely a hoe. So like, but I can separate the art from the artist. I like her music. So like, I just don't think it's that hard to do. But when people do this in the middle of their concert, when I'm trying to listen to their music and not think about their crazy ass political views, you're ruining it.
Yeah. It's so distracting. It's like, I didn't want to have to make a decision. I didn't want to have to think of you one way or the other. It's like, I imagine men that use strippers wouldn't want to know their political leanings one way or the other. You're like, just finish the lap dance. Thank you.
So we'll survive this moment.
You will, Bruce, because you're a multimillionaire. And all these rich white ladies in the front row, these rich boomer ladies, how expensive these tickets must be. Everyone down here, and they'll be fine. Maybe not the nosebleed people.
Now, I have hope because I believe in the truth of what the great American writer James Baldwin said.
Ugh, good thing they cut it off there. I was about to just fall asleep.
I always wonder, this is another thing where like my brain doesn't quite wire properly, where same thing to like, why do you want to live in America if you hate America? Why don't you want to do anything about the problems that you see when you have that much money? You know, like I'm not asking you to solve world hunger. I hate when people say that. Like, but can't you make massive impacts yourself with your time? Truly, like, can't you do more than what you are doing? And I don't think one person can solve the world's problems. It's just you're destining yourself for depression and anxiety. But you can't do more with all of that wealth. You can't sell something to like make a massive impact or I just don't get it. Like the virtue signaling does nothing. Do something. You have the power to do something.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, you might not these limousine liberals that you might not like Trump, but it's like he's the vitamins that this country has to take right now to get back to a good place. It's like you're a boomer. You got literally like the best years of this country. Boomers got the best of everything. In every area of life, and it's because of the presidents. Maybe there were several presidents that you wouldn't have liked that got the country to a place where you can benefit that much from it, and like that's what Trump is trying to do now. It's like tough shit. You don't like his personality, like it's like get over it, dude.
It's so much better this time than it was in 2016 though. Like I don't love to admit this, but like I said, truth teller, I'm not going to lie to people. I did not vote for him in 2020. I was so over everything. I didn't vote for anybody. It's not like I voted for Joe Biden. I just couldn't fathom voting for anybody. It was just over this shit. I didn't want it to be done. I was kind of drunk with my roommate when we decided it was time to go vote. And we were like, let's write in our dog. Like we were idiots. I was also living in DC. So it's not like I was swinging votes. So just chill. But I didn't. And, you know, I think the real reason why, when I look back, other than like being an idiot, was truly that like other people were so rattled by him. And I was at this such like weird pass in my life where I was so like rattled by other people's opinions. Again, like maturing, growing, realizing that we don't need to do that. But the way that my relationships were being ruined because of who he was, and then how I voted, like the way that everything he did was an indictment on me. Again, I understand now in retrospect that that's not my problem and I should have brushed it off my shoulders and rolled my eyes, but I was an impressionable kid, you know, like that's just how I felt. And I just couldn't get myself to do it because everyone was so rattled by it and they were so triggered by it. And I had like a little sister in my sorority who called me crying, and I was all the time about politics. And I'm like,
wow,
oh my God, you're being brainwashed. But like, I didn't feel guilty for my vote. I knew I was right. But at the same time, I'm like, I just want this to end. Like, I just want this to end.
Wow.
I don't want it to be Joe. I don't want it to be Trump. I want it to be neither of these people. Like, whoever neither is, that's what I wanted in 2020. But it was so interesting in 2024. I didn't feel like that at all. I bought my first MAGA hat. I didn't give a crap at all. I was like, you're fine. And all of my friends who were once crying and like wheezing into their pillow in 2016 and 2020, like, they're now married to their Republican boyfriend now. So the world has changed.
They gotcha.
Yeah, it all settles out.
That's very cool to hear you say that. And now I know, like, there were a lot of people that just didn't, because I would hear people say, oh, I don't want it to be neither. And I couldn't understand. But like hearing you explain why, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's why.
Yeah. And I think it was just like a time in my life, but most of my life at the time, yes, was kind of in politics. And so I get people that are like really wrapped up in politics, not understanding it. And like now I think I would have a difficult time looking back and understanding what I went through. But 90% of my life was done. This is pre-COVID, like in person with my friends in DC in real life. They were all liberal. So like to be the only lone conservative and all they want to do is talk about politics and to be like constantly on the defense, but constantly on the defense with a bunch of emotional feminists all the time. Like it was draining, you know? And now I'm like, okay, I never should have put myself in that situation to begin with, but that's where my job was. Do you know what I mean? Like so much easier said than done. And yeah, sure, I regret it now, but it is what it is and we can only learn from it.
This is a funny comment from Symbolic Mind. Well, it ended up being neither, lol.
Sure wasn't Joe.
You poor thing. Yeah, thoughts on the fact that I think I do commend actually the left for being able to hide Joe Biden's health status from everyone for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But now
we all bought it.
Now it's finally come out that he's got like turbo cancer. He's got crazy prostate into his bone cancer. It's not looking good. And then you have people. I understand folks who have a hard time getting sympathy for Biden, the whole Biden family, because they're like, no, wait, this is the person who wished death upon us multiple times. You know, told us that it was going to be, you know, multiple winters of death if we didn't take the COVID jab.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is like we all saw with our own eyes the cognitive health decline that not catching the cancer thing. Like he openly told us in 2022 that he had cancer and we were like, oh, well, there's this kind of explanation. Like he's so dementia ridden that we were like, oh, in 2021, he had this thing where he had like skin cancer. And we were like, yeah, he is so dementia ridden.
He doesn't know what
like,
cancer is. He's stupid.
Exactly. That like for a second I was like, listen, they didn't dupe us in terms of like we all knew he was in cognitive decline before he ran in 2020. I love watching the show Parks and Rec. And every single time that Joe Biden pops up in Parks and Rec, this, you know, whatever satire sitcom show on Peacock, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is not the same man that ran this country, quote unquote.
He's so like, on Parks and Rec?
Dude, multiple times. And he looks like a different man. Let me tell you that. Oh yeah, like John McCain's on there, Cory Booker's on there, Orrin Hatch is on. Like there are some good oldie throwbacks on there. Like there's some good ones. But anyway, it's so interesting how we were so bought into the narrative, and it wasn't a wrong narrative about this mental decline, that we literally missed things right in front of us that we were always curious about, but I guess not curious enough and like still kind of looking for answers. And no one wants to be like, I have a conspiracy theory. The president has cancer and he's dying in front of us. Like no one's going to say that. And I get that we're like normal human beings, but like now looking back in retrospect, I'm like, we kind of duped ourselves by thinking this was all just cognitive decline. Like is a really good explanation, but simultaneously like it was cancer that was declining. And people are going back and noticing that there were like those purple vein marks exactly where you would be getting an IV every single time that he would come back from Delaware. He would get one of those. You'd have these like intense bruising on his hands. And I was like, wow, like there were signs. You know, but you had to know. I don't want to be like, we're duped. Come on. Like if you were conservative and you saw Biden's mental decline, I'm not trying to come at you, but I'm just saying maybe in my own self-reflection, I'm like, dang, I was so focused on his mental decline. I wasn't attributing the physical decline to anything but the mental decline, you know?
Right. I didn't even think of cancer.
Oh yes. Here's Biden in Parks and Rec.
Quality welders.
Wow. This is the same person.
How did you do this?
Call in a few favors.
Excuse me.
A few hundred favors. Mr. Vice President, Ben Wyatt from Congressman Murray's office.
Hey, Ben, Dave told me you were going to be coming by, and you must be Leslie Knope. Welcome.
You're my name just came out of your mouth.
Well, yeah, it did.
How is it the same person?
Leslie was giving him an insight into what his presidency and communication style would look like. But seriously,
this isn't happening. This isn't real.
No, it's happening, and I'm delighted to have you here. On behalf of the president and myself, I wanted
Mr.
to...
Right.
It's crazy because he was like already so old here, but he just kept going.
But he had like, I wouldn't say charisma. Like charisma is not the right word because
riz.
Yeah, no. Like he could smile and he was with it. He's speaking full sentences. Like, how is that standard?
Yeah.
Over Madam Secretary Clinton's position. I mean,
I'm confident you could do that job or any other. But
okay, I will.
Well, the reason you're here is I'm told you've done such a great job in your town. And
Oh, he's reciting lines and everything. Wow.
No, I know. I think it's just like I watch that show all the time. So when I see him on there and then you see this marked decline to where he is now, and obviously, I think there's like at least 10 plus year time difference from when this was shot. No one's exactly the same as they were 10 years ago, obviously. But at the same time, to see him look the same and act so different and such a steep decline so quickly. I mean, you can watch videos of Trump 10 to 16 years ago and they're different, but they're not that different.
No, not at all. He gets better. He's like a fine orange wine. He got cancer 2 hours after the Her tapes were released.
No.
Yeah.
Someone was bringing up today, and this was a really good point, I thought, that like, interesting how he made the announcement right before that original Sin book was going to drop by Alex Thompson and Jake Tapper. And I did find it really interesting because I've actually read so many of Joe Biden's books because it was in 2019. I had to read about all of the candidates that were running.
Wow.
I even dabbled into Kamala's book and threw it in the trash after like chapter 2. But I read most of their books. I read Pete Buttigieg's book, Bernie's, pretty much anybody that was like in the front couple podiums. I've read their book. And I read a lot of Biden's. And one thing you have to know about him is he really thinks the media is out to get him. That is like the weirdest thing about Joe Biden is he like thinks the media absolutely hates him. So when Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson put out this book, we all see it as, okay, the media is trying to cover up for their 5 years of failing to report on the most obvious story in American history. And he sees it as, oh my gosh, the media are after me. That is the way the MO of the Biden hive mind that they have over there. And I think it's so fascinating that they put this out right then so that now people will have to read this book and view this book through the lens of this wasn't, an old man just declining cognitively. This is a man with cancer. You can't bully a man with cancer. Watch me.
So they're trying to spin it. Yeah.
Yeah. And, other people have been saying too, this is some of the feedback I just keep seeing online is like, you're making it political, like pray for him. I'm like, first of all, I'm a Christian. I will always pray for him. He's already been prayed for today. Okay. He's fine. It's in terms of that. I'm not trying to be mean, but to me, I'm not being political by having eyes and noticing patterns. Okay. I'm just reporting the news or seeing things with my eyes. I'm commentating on reality and truth. Being political is refusing to get, allegedly, if we're going to believe Biden's story, refusing to get doctors' checkups because you don't want the doctors to tell the world that you're in cognitive decline, so much so that you refuse to see the best in the world medical professionals out there that could have detected early prostate cancer and saved your life.
Wow.
You made politics so much of your life, you're going to lose yours over it. To me, I am not political. He is political.
Yeah, that's a really good point because a lot of people I've been seeing on Twitter today, a lot of people are doing like the math on like, hey, wait a minute, it usually prostate cancer is a slow burn. He should have known about this years ago, or it's either medical malpractice, he's been ignoring it, and it's hard to think like he could be ignoring that. He's got all the time and money and resources to see the best doctors.
Yeah. Those doctors should honestly, I don't think prosecute is the right word, but investigate it if we're just going to be writing off fake bills of health. There's no point in the taxpayer employing you. Like, Doge, Elon, get in here. There's no point in the taxpayers utilizing any of our resources for a White House physician if you're just going to put out a clean bill of health, right? If that's the case, like Dr. Jill can come in and write a clean bill of health. We don't need real doctors.
We can use a fake doctor like Dr. Jill Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just, my God. The elder abuse doesn't even cover it. Like, this is supposedly your spouse, somebody you love, your partner, and you're going to let them go through all this. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure she left her last husband for Joe Biden. So I don't necessarily know if it's about love. It might just be about power. But
yeah. She's probably lining up the next one. Oh boy.
We're awful.
She's doing interviews right now.
prospective clients in the future.
She's accepting husband number 3 applications.
Oh my gosh, somebody in your comment section said, careful, if you say Elon's name 3 times as a right-wing woman, he impregnates you.
Oh my gosh. I don't want Elon to impregnate me.
No, I do not want that.
Instead of Elon juice.
That's so funny.
Oh God, Hunter is. I have no hopes that Hunter's gonna get any kind of anything.
For what, rehab?
Yeah. No one cares anymore. It's
No.
crazy.
No, saying Hunter Biden's name is like saying COVID.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants to hear about it anymore.
I should have spelled it out earlier. I think I said it a bunch.
Just trying to help you on the tubes of you.
The tubes. Chrissy, I know you have to run. Where can people find you? What are you working on? Etc.
Yeah, you can find me wherever you get your podcast. It's Underreported Stories with Chrissy Clark, available Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube, and Rumble. And then I just do regular, like if you like to know what's going on in the news, but you want it said to you in a very straightforward, matter-of-fact way with perhaps a joke or two, follow me over on Instagram or TikTok. And that's where I post my short form content. I do post it now on YouTube Shorts and Facebook as well. The problem with Facebook is they think I'm not conservative, which is crazy. So I get a lot of hate mail on Facebook, which is just crazy. But if you're one of those people, head over there. I still love you and I still post my videos every day for you, just so you can yell at me. Anyway, thanks so much for having me. This was a blast. You are building an empire over here, girl.
Oh.
I'm proud to be honored to be part of it.
I'm truly inspired by your work ethic. You're absolutely crushing it, Chrissy. And now I just want to find more Chrissies and we'll start a baseball team.
Oh, absolutely. Dodgeball, Chrissy versus Chrissy. Oh, that just sounds fun.
Thank you to the chat. Thank you guys. You guys make it fun for us. Thanks for all your comments and questions. And we'll have to get you on a Simcast sometimes, Chrissy. That would be great.
I was watching one of those. I was like, girl, I do not know if I belong on this, but this would be fun.
All right. Each one is totally different. Some are more political. Some are more like we're talking about my 600-pound life. So it really runs.
I can do both.
All right. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching, guys. And we'll catch you all next time. Bye.